From translation, NIV New International Version, this 142 day of the year today we are reading passages Ezra 4-7, Ezra chapter 4, verses 1 to 24 when the enemies of Judah and Benjamin heard that the exiles were building a temple for the Lord, the God of Israel. They came to Zerubbabel and to the heads of the families and said, "Let us help you build because like you, we seek your God and have been sacrificing to him since the time of Esarhaddon king of Assyria, who brought us here." But Zerubbabel, Jeshua and the other heads of the families of Israel answered, "You have no part with us in building a temple to our God. We alone will build it for the Lord, the God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, commanded us." Then the peoples around them set out to discourage the people of Judah and make them afraid to go on building. They bribed counselors to work against them, and during the reign of Xerxes, wrote letters to accuse the people of Judah. In the reign of Xerxes, Bishlam, Mithridath, Tabeel and the rest of their associates wrote a letter to Artaxerxes. The letter was written in Aramaic script and translated. Rehum the commanding officer and Shimshai, the secretary wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes the king. This time the letter was written in Aramaic and read. Rehum commanding officer, Shimshai the secretary and the rest of their associates, the judges, officials and workers in Jerusalem, the men from Erech, Babylon, Susa, Dihar, Elam, Hamath and Arwad, the people of Sidon and Tyre, the people of Anatoth, Ashdod and Ashkelon, the people of Byblos, Memphis and the people from other provinces west of the Euphrates. Now this is a copy of the letter they sent to him, to King Artaxerxes. Your servants, the men west of the Euphrates, send greetings. The king should know that the Jews who came up to us from you have gone to Jerusalem and are rebuilding that rebellious and wicked city. They are restoring the walls and repairing the foundations. Furthermore, the king should know that if this city is built and its walls are restored, they will not pay tribute, duty or any other tax, and the royal treasury will suffer. Now since we are under obligation to the king, we do not want to see the king dishonored, so we have sent this message to warn the king. If this city is built and its walls are restored, no territory will be left to the king. This city will be a rebellion and will cause harm to both the royal treasury and the taxes of the province. We are loyal to the king and do not want to see the king's dishonor. Therefore we have sent this message to warn the king that he may know what is happening in this province. The king should search the records of his predecessors. In those records you will find out that this city is a rebellious city, harmful to kings and provinces, and a center of rebellion and sedition since ancient times. That is why this city was destroyed. Now if the king is pleased, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will pay the expenses of this investigation from the royal treasury. The king sent this reply. To Rehum the commanding officer, Shimshai the secretary, and the rest of their associates living in Samaria and elsewhere in the province of Trans-Euphrates, greetings. The letter you sent has been read and translated. I have issued a decree, and a search has been made in the archives, and it was found that this city has a long history of revolt against kings, that it has been a place of rebellion and sedition. Jerusalem has had powerful kings ruling over the whole of Trans-Euphrates, and taxes, tribute and duty were paid to them. Now issue a decree to stop these men from their work. This city must not be rebuilt until I so order. Be careful not to neglect this matter. Why let this threat grow to the detriment of the royal interests? As soon as the copy of the king's decree was read to Rehum and Shimshai and their associates, they went promptly to the Jews in Jerusalem and compelled them by force to stop work. Thus the work on the house of God in Jerusalem stopped. The work was suspended until the second year of the reign of Darius king of Persia. Ezra chapter 5, verses 1-17. Now the prophets Haggai and Zechariah, a descendant of Iddo, prophesied to the Jews in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, who was over them. Then Zerubbabel son of Shealtiel and Jeshua son of Jozadak began to rebuild the house of God in Jerusalem, and the prophets of God were with them, helping them. At that time Tatnai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Shethar-Boznai and their associates went to the Jews and asked, "Who authorized you to rebuild this temple and restore this work?" They also asked, "What are the names of the men who are constructing this building?" But the eye of their God was watching over the elders of the Jews, and they were not prevented by Tatnai or his associates or the governor or his associates from rebuilding the temple until it was finished. This is a copy of the letter that Tatnai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Shethar-Boznai and his associates, the officials of Trans-Euphrates, sent to King Darius. The report they sent was as follows: To King Darius, may you be happy. The king should know that we went to the province of Judah, to the house of the great God. It is being built with large stones, and timber is laid in the walls. The work is being carried out with diligence and is progressing well in their hands. We questioned the elders and asked them, "Who authorized you to rebuild this temple and restore this work?" We also asked them their names, so that we could write down the names of their leaders for you. This is their answer. We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth, and are rebuilding the temple that was built many years ago, one that a great king of Israel built and finished. But because our ancestors angered the God of heaven, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, the Chaldean, who destroyed this temple and carried the people away to Babylon. However, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Babylon, King Cyrus issued a decree to rebuild this temple. He even removed from the temple of Babylon the gold and silver vessels of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple in Jerusalem and brought to the temple of Babylon. Cyrus, king of Babylon, brought them out and handed them to Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah, by means of Cyrus' orders. Now then, if it is pleasing to the king, let a search be made in the royal archives of Babylon in the province of Babylonia to see if King Cyrus issued a decree to rebuild this temple of God in Jerusalem. Then let the king send us his decision in this matter. This is the copy of the letter that Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Shethar-Boznai and his associates sent to King Darius. The king replied with a letter to Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Shethar-Boznai and his associates, the officials of Trans-Euphrates, greetings. Now let the search be made. Ezra chapter 6, verses 1 to 22. King Darius then issued an order, and they searched in the archives stored in Babylon. In the citadel of Ecbatana in the province of Media, a scroll was found, and in it was written as follows: a decree of King Cyrus. In the first year of his reign, King Cyrus issued a decree concerning the temple of God in Jerusalem. Let the temple be rebuilt as a place for offering sacrifices, and let its foundations be laid. It is to be 60 cubits high and 60 cubits wide, with 3 courses of large stones and 1 of timbers. The expenses are to be paid by the royal treasury. Also, the gold and silver articles of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took from the temple in Jerusalem and brought to Babylon, are to be returned to their places in the temple in Jerusalem. They are to be deposited in the house of God. Now then, Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Shethar-Boznai, and your associates the officials of Trans-Euphrates, stay away from there. Do not interfere with the work on this temple of God. Let the governor of the Jews and the Jewish elders rebuild this temple of God on its site. Moreover, I hereby decree what you are to do for these elders of the Jews in the construction of this house of God. Expenses are to be paid to these men out of the royal treasury, from the revenues of Trans-Euphrates, so that the work will not be stopped. Whatever is needed, young bulls, rams, male lambs for burnt offerings to the God of heaven, and wheat, salt, wine, and olive oil, as requested by the priests of Jerusalem, let it be given to them daily without fail, so that they may offer sacrifices pleasing to the God of heaven and pray for the well-being of the king and his sons. I also decree that if anyone changes this edict, a beam is to be pulled out from his house, and he is to be impaled on it, and for this crime his house is to be made a pile of rubble. May God, who has caused his name to dwell there, overthrow any king or people who lifts a hand to change this decree or to destroy this temple in Jerusalem. So Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Shethar-Boznai and their associates carried out King Darius' order with all diligence. The elders of the Jews continued to make progress in building under the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah, a descendant of Iddo. They finished building according to the command of the God of Israel and the decrees of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, kings of Persia. The people of Israel, priests, Levites, and the exiles who had returned from captivity, celebrated the dedication of this house of God with joy. For the dedication of this house of God, they offered 100 bulls, 200 rams, and 400 male lambs, and as a sin offering for all Israel, 12 male goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel. And they installed the priests in their divisions, and the Levites in their groups for the service of God at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. On the 14th day of the first month, the exiles celebrated the Passover. The priests and Levites purified themselves and purified the people, the gates, and the wall. Then the exiles celebrated the feast of unleavened bread for 7 days with joy, because the Lord had made them joyful, and had turned the heart of the king of Assyria toward them, to strengthen their hands in the work on the house of God, the God of Israel. And so the Israelites celebrated the Passover and the feast of unleavened bread for 7 days with joy. For the Lord had filled the people with joy by changing the attitude of the king of Assyria, so that he assisted them in the work on the house of God, the God of Israel. Ezra chapter 7, verses 1 to 28. After these things, during the reign of Artaxerxes king of Persia, Ezra son of Sariah, the son of Azariah, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Shallum, the son of Zadok, the son of Ahitub, the son of Amariah, the son of Azariah, the son of Merioth, the son of Zerahiah, the son of Uzi, the son of Buki, the son of Abishua, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the chief priest. This Ezra came up from Babylon. He was a teacher well versed in the law of Moses, which the Lord, the God of Israel, had given to the Israelites. The king had granted him everything he requested, because the hand of the Lord his God was on him. Some of the Israelites, including priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, and temple servants, also came up to Jerusalem in the 7th year of King Artaxerxes. Ezra arrived at Jerusalem in the 5th month of the 7th year of the king. He had begun his journey from Babylon on the 1st day of the 1st month, and he arrived at Jerusalem on the 1st day of the 5th month, for the gracious hand of his God was on him. For Ezra had set his heart to study the law of the Lord, and to practice it, and to teach his statutes and ordinances in Israel. This is a copy of the letter King Artaxerxes had given to Ezra the priest, the teacher of the law of God, sent to him concerning it. Artaxerxes, King of Kings, to Ezra the priest, teacher of the law of the God of heaven, greetings. Now I decree that any of the Israelites in my kingdom, including priests and Levites, who are willing to go to Jerusalem with you, may go. You are sent by the king and his 7 counselors to carry out the task of the God of Jerusalem in accordance with the law of your God, which you are carrying with you. You are also to take with you the silver and gold that the king and his counselors have freely given to the God of Israel, whose dwelling is in Jerusalem, together with all the silver and gold you may obtain in the whole province of Babylonia, and with the freewill offerings of the people and priests for the house of their God in Jerusalem. With this money be sure to buy bulls, rams, and male lambs, together with their grain offerings and drink offerings, and sacrifice them on the altar of the temple of your God in Jerusalem. You may do whatever seems best with the rest of the silver and gold, with the will of your God. Deliver to the God of Jerusalem all the silver and gold that you and your fellow Israelites provide for the temple of your God, and anything else required for the house of your God that you may have occasion to provide, give it out of the king's treasury. And I, Artaxerxes the king, decree that all the treasurers of Trans-Euphrates provide Ezra the priest, teacher of the law of the God of heaven, with whatever he requests of you, up to 100 talents of silver, 100 cors of wheat, 100 baths of wine, 100 baths of olive oil, and salt without limit. Whatever the God of heaven has prescribed, let it be done with diligence for the house of the God of heaven, so that wrath may not come from the kings of Persia and Media. Why should there be wrath against the realm of the king and his sons? You are therefore to warn the people not to violate these orders. Why let damage be done to the royal interests? And you, Ezra, using the wisdom of your God, which you possess, appoint magistrates and judges to administer justice to all the people of Trans-Euphrates, all who know the laws of your God. And you are to teach anyone who does not know them. Whoever does not obey the law of your God and the law of the king must surely be punished by death, banishment, confiscation of property, or imprisonment. Praise be to the Lord, the God of our fathers, who has put it into the king's heart to bring honor to the house of the Lord in Jerusalem in this way, and who has extended his good favor to me before the king and his counselors, and all the king's powerful officials. Because the hand of the Lord my God was on me, I took courage and gathered leaders from Israel to go up with me.